Welcome back to the studio, everybody. I am here with none other than the Tijani, the rentalpreneur, and today we're going to talk about Airbnb tips for 2023. So, TJ, we're recording this early 2023. How is the Airbnb market or the short-term rental market different than last year in 2022?
Well, it's very different. I think last year in 2022, we saw a lot of shifts in the market happening. Kind of that, I guess, kind of Q2, we kind of start seeing the interest rates kind of go up. And there was like, oh, we think it's going to come down. Oh, no, it went up again. And they announced they went up again. So I think what has happened is right now in real estate, the buying power of traditional buyers have dwindled quite drastically. And so now that causes kind of this stalemate, because what happens when you have people that have purchased real estate at lower interest rates before, with the interest rates being so high now, they're going to want to hold on to those properties. They're really only going to sell those properties if they really need to, for the most part. But the sad part about that is likely they're not going to get the value that they want. When you think about the fact that properties are appraised like every 6 months, like if you go to get a loan, if there was an appraisal done, if there hasn't been an appraisal done within the last 6 months, it's likely going to want you to do another one again. So what has happened is right now is sellers are a little delusional in a way. They think that their property is worth a lot more because we're kind of going into this whole high interest rate situation, and they're not getting what they're asking for their property. And so this is why I think that investors right now have an amazing advantage. People that are putting emphasis on acquisitions have an amazing advantage to still buy a lot of real estate by leveraging creative financing. Because with creative financing, we're able to get them a lot closer to their asking price, and create a win-win situation. So this is part of how the wealth is transferred during times like this. And I think that's why I believe that, especially just in real estate in general, even in the short-term rental space, it's still a great time to get in, because for one, there's going to be a lot of opportunities to purchase assets. For two, a lot of people are scared right now. If you know anything about wealthy people, they do the opposite of the crowd. They do the opposite of where the direction that people are going. So I think it's important to note that while people are fearful, it's time for you to take massive, massive action in 2023 for sure.
That's awesome. I love it. Super encouraging, honestly, especially with all of the fear and doubt and uncertainty in the market right now. Let me ask you this. Beyond just, like interest rates going up, beyond the macroeconomic trends, are there any things with like the STR websites in particular for how they've changed like their algorithms for how you get business?
Yeah. So, I mean, Airbnb they kind of have this revolving door of making updates and changing algorithms and things like that. So there's definitely some algorithm changes. And actually, there's been a lot of talk about Airbnb's most recent algorithm change and how it's affecting people's viewership and their listing. And so if you notice, certain things have changed. Like you used to have your title of your listing that will kind of be like the front face and pop up with the picture, and you have the title to your listing. But now the title is like a subtitle. The title of your property now is what kind of asset it is. Oh, house in whatever, or studio apartment in 2 bedroom or one, and then under that, in small gray letters, it'll show your title, right? So it's still very important to put emphasis on your title. Make sure that you're highlighting all the amazing things about your listing on your title. Do you have fast Wi-Fi? Let them know that. Do you have king beds? People search for that. Let them know that. That's another thing I would tell people to do. Go ahead and research on what people search for, what people are Googling to stay, to when they're looking for short-term rentals, or even when they're looking for hotels. Find out what they're Googling and see if that's something you can incorporate in your listing as well as your listing title. So there's been a few changes. Another thing is, of course, the amenities changes that they've made. You need to make sure that you go in your listing and update all your amenities. Most people, the amenities section that they open, most people have not turned it on, because they don't really know that they're actually providing some of the amenities that Airbnb has highlighted. So that's important for people to go back. So it's always good to stay a student of the game and kind of stay on top of the algorithm changes and what's going on. At times like this, another thing that's very important is the way you price on Airbnb. I don't personally recommend Airbnb's pricing strategy because you got to think about the fact that Airbnb's job is to put heads in beds, to sell these rooms. And if they have to drop your price to $19 a day to do it, they will do it.
As I say, they still make their fee, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. They're still going to make their fee. So you have to keep in mind that you have to be in control of your pricing strategy. And your pricing strategy should not be the same as it was in 2022 or 21. You need to be understanding about the market changes and how you are pricing, right? Previously, our pricing was about 30% midterm stays and about 70% traditional short-term stays. It's kind of flipped right now. We're more 70 to 75% midterm stays and about 30 to 25% short-term stays.
Interesting. And has that affected your margins at all? Do you make less with the midterm stay, or how does that all shake out?
It's always interesting because, we have to understand that just as important as the offense is in making money, the defense is also just as important. So, yes, you have to give a discount to get those kind of stays. But when you think about the money that you're saving on inventory costs, on cleaning, on sheets and linens and things like that, and restocking items and things like that, you're saving on the defensive side as well. And so it almost kind of balances out. Now, would we be more profitable if it was a traditional short-term rentals? Yes. But I still like the fact that our properties are occupied, that we're still very profitable in times like this. And, when we want to make that switch again, then we'll make that switch. But the goal is to stay relevant, have the best listing, have as many amenities as possible, try to be in the top 90th percentile, and make sure that you are operating, putting guest experiences first, because most hosts don't.
Yeah.
Guest experiences first, and you'll be in good shape.
All right. So to recap, we've got, rising interest rates in 2023, which means, it's harder to get into a home, but those creative financing strategies can help people do that. You've got the algorithm changes, right? So we need to list all the amenities, make sure that everything's optimized for the way that the title is listed. And that third thing, which is making sure that your pricing strategy, whether you're doing midterm or short term, making sure to whatever is more in demand for your market, make sure you're dialed into that. Do you think 2023 has the potential to be a good year, or do you think people should slowly start phasing out of the game?
People should attack the game in 2023. I think it'll be a great year. It's when there's going to be a lot of opportunity in the marketplace. There's a lot of fear in the marketplace, and the more reason why you should definitely attack into 2023 for sure.
Awesome. I love it. Well, you heard it here first, folks. TJ Tijani, the rentalpreneur. We'll see you on the next one.